The Wizard, J.O., my OG, man. Hey, welcome to the podcast, man. We've been trying to get this thing going for a minute, man. Finally able to connect, man. Welcome to the podcast, bro.
Man, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Yes, it's good to be on.
for sure, man. First thing we asked our guests, man, is, are you a bourbon drinker? Do you like bourbon? If so, what's one of your go-to, something that you like?
I do like bourbon. I like Woodford. I like
Okay,
Woodford.
okay. It's
It's
probably
not my favorite.
the,
I mean, bourbon's not my favorite. I'm more of a cognac person. Grew up
gotcha.
drinking
Okay,
cognac.
okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Little Remy Martin, I had a little bit of that too on the shelf.
I have drinking a lot of Manhattans. I do like Manhattan.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
And man, and before we even get started, man, I gotta give you your flowers, man. You were somebody that I really looked up to, man. And it's funny because I really didn't even know who you were. My sister went to school with you. And so the first high school basketball game that I went to, she was like, man, you gotta come see this dude, Jason Osborne, play. And I was like, oh, okay, okay. And so I never forget, man, Danny Elan, who was your point guard, he, coached me when I was in Male. You guys were playing Ballard. And I think Wheat had already graduated, and it was a home game at Mayo. And man, it was I just fell in love. It was the atmosphere of watching you play, man. And I never got a chance to meet you until I got older. And I was kind of having a tough time at Louisville, man. And every time I saw you, you always gave me words of encouragement. And it meant so much to me, man, because you were somebody that I looked up to. I never forget. We was in headliners one time, man, and you stopped me. You was like, man, you gonna be as good as you want when you realize how good you are, man. He said, man, you can be as good as you want. And man, I didn't know if you were blowing smoke or what you were doing, but I took it at heart, man, and it meant so much to me, man. And so every time we had some interactions, I appreciated it. And probably the crowning moment for me, man, you were playing professionally, and I was going into my senior year at U of L, and we were playing open pickup at Bellarmine. And we were playing, me and you was on the same team, man, and it was game point. And so I was kind of looking to see what you guys was going to do. And you brought it down to me. You said, bring it home. I was like, well, shit, I did. And I went and I scored game point. But just for you to give me the ball on game point, just knowing who you, man, it meant so much to me, man. You have no clue what that did for my confidence, man. So just wanted to throw that out there before we get into the podcast, bro.
man, I appreciate that. One thing I do remember, you was always on the court. You wanted to hoop. You had that heart. You played. You wanted it. So I always liked that about you. You had that, like, you played with heart, passion. So I was like, man, I want to play with this young man. And every time I see him, I'm gonna keep getting him confidence because, you know, we don't always get that. Being in the spotlight. Especially when we're competing. It's kind of tough sometimes to get other people to recognize you and stuff. I say good things about you, but
Right.
man, you was a good guy. I've always heard good things about you, your family as well. So I definitely want to keep giving you positive energy, man, for sure.
I appreciate it, OG. And so, man, and speaking of your time at Mayo, man, sometimes you gotta remind folks now, like you were a Super Five player. What a Super Five player is, like you were top five player. Like they picked they have these different teams of All American, first, second, third, fourth team. So you was considered a Super Five, which is the first team All American coming out of high school. So, when you were, making your decision, what was it about you that wanted to pick Louisville rather than, your pick of the litter of being able to go any place you wanted or going straight to the NBA?
Mm. Back in that time, it was on the boards. The Kevin Garnett's hadn't gotten there yet, but we knew about them. We knew about the Marburys. I was at the camps before when they was younger, so we knew. I played with Stackhouse, Rasheed Wallace, and people
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, one of our things is when we were coming out was 2 years. Most people want to stay 2 years. After 2 years, I'm out because we loved our universities. I wanted to play at Louisville. I always wanted to play.
Mm-hmm.
So straight into the NBA at our time. we didn't really want to do that. We wanted to go to the North Carolinas. We wanted to go to the Dukes. We didn't want to go 4 years,
Right.
but we definitely go in a 10. So most of the time when I was coming out, all the people that I talked to, we were had an understanding of it being that, that I wasn't going to make it 4 years. So any school that I spoken to, so that's what we wanted to do. It didn't get to like Garnett, and when we kind of realized that you can just go to the league. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, my family wanted Louisville. Coming up in Mill, Mouse Payne. Mouse Payne is a big Kentucky guy.
Yeah.
So his eighth grade, ninth grade, he was sending me to the UK camps. The team camps. We had the team camp and we had the individuals. So he would send me. So I knew Patino, I knew the staff, I knew his kids, I knew his family. You know what I'm saying? Like during the summertime because Payne loved Kentucky. So I had a relationship with him. I actually liked Patino, and I made a decision that I wanted to go to to Kentucky. But speaking with my family, we had a family meeting, and just felt like me loving Louisville. I said I choose Louisville. Everybody be all right, and I wouldn't change it. I mean, you know, I I wouldn't change it to be honest. The people I played with, I love playing with Dewan, Tick Rogers. The people I played with, I love them as brothers. So I wouldn't change it.
And it's funny, man, because even some years later, he still felt some type of way because we kind of joke about it. We were in practice one day and we were talking about like some of the, the legends that come out of male high school, the, Griff, the Winston Bennett's, and I didn't hear your name. And I'm like, Jason Osborne, like best one in recent time. He's like,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know how good he was. He might have been all right. I don't know if he was all that. I said, yeah, all right. He was supposed to go to Kentucky. I said, yeah, maybe that's why you said he was all right. But he was joking about it. But
think about
he really was, high on you coming out of high school though.
I verbally committed to Kentucky. People
Okay.
don't know that.
Okay.
So I liked him, and we had a relationship. So he definitely was hurt over that. You know what I mean? So you know, it is what it is.
For sure. Now, when you were at Louisville, talk to me about your 2 years. You played with some great man. You played with, it's one of my all-time favorite teams. With you, Greg Minor, Dwayne Morton, Dewan Wheat. Talk about your experience in your 2 years at U of L.
It's a great experience. High level basketball. At the time, you got Denny Crum, who was still, able to coach and move around and do some things. He definitely was into his horses and his business, but he cared about the university. So, having seniors like Greg and Dwayne, it was a big help for me and Dewan. It made our game a lot better knowing that we had seniors that, they would step up, they would play hard, they would push us. We had a nice freshman class. You remember we had about 5 freshmen that came in. Bozak Smith, Matt
Mm-hmm.
Simons. Um, so we kind of built a family, especially with like players like Chick Rogers, Cliff Rozier. They play with
Mm-hmm.
emotion, they aggression, they play with heart. So for me, I gravitated to it quickly, and you know, high post with a big man like Cliff, it was easy for us to get it into him, and he dominated the paint, and you got 4 people on the outside that's able to shoot and create for others, kind of play make. And I tell people all the time, out of that 5, 4 of them made it to the league, and probably the best one didn't make it. You know what I'm saying? Me. You know what I mean? Like, that's how good we were.
Yeah.
For me, we started 19-2 that year. So my freshman year was crazy. It was out of control. Now my sophomore year, I love that too. I love that too. Samaki,
Mm-hmm.
me and Dewan up, we struggled. Eric Johnson, Dwayne, Damian, Alvin Sims started to come out and do his thing. So our
Mm-hmm.
team was, we just had, you know, like started to get to the point where we just wasn't together. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Everybody's doing. and everybody split up a little bit, and we kind of struggled that year.
So for some of the people who are a little younger now that may have not have gotten a chance to see you play, how would you describe your game, or who would you say somebody in today's game that maybe kind of is symbolic to the way you play or resembles the way you played?
Mm. I idolized Magic Johnson for sure. That was my favorite player. Um, so when I started playing, I was a good player, you know, my whole career from starting as a young kid. But I
Mm-hmm.
also I love to entertain. I like Magic the way he smiled, his charisma, the way he passed the ball. So I like that too. And then as I did that, I started to notice that my teammates would play with me. You know what I'm saying? Like I look up, they running. Okay, okay. So, you know, 10, 11, 12, instead of wanting to score 40 and 50 points. And, you know, I started wanting to make a pass, make an extra pass, make a good play. And I started winning. We won more. I won more. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I kind of my game. A lot of IQ, um, being long, being tall, you know what I'm saying, having some athleticism, but mostly, man, just playing the game every day, all day, from 7 years old to, you know, ending up my my professional career. So I would kind of say that I was more of an all-around player. What they what they was frowned upon when we was coming up, that's what they are today. You remember they would call me a tweener.
Yeah.
He's not rated at any one particular thing, but he's good at everything.
Yep.
They didn't want that. I came out of the time of specialists.
Yeah. You had to
You
have a
got
special skill.
yes. Now you can be all around player. You can have
Positionless
those.
basketball now.
So I would have excelled in today's basketball, but coming
Yeah,
up,
for sure.
it was kind of hard for me. I had point guard skills, but I'm too tall for a point guard. I have big man skills, but I'm not as big for a big man. So we kind of got in between there
I
sometimes.
always
But
told people, man, I said he was a more athletic and more athletic, faster version of a Lamar Odom. I said people saw Lamar Odom, he was left-handed, get the ball coming down the court. I said he was just their games was very similar, both about 6'9", 6'10", pushing the rock, handle it, can pass, do a little bit of
yeah,
everything. I said, but J.O. was probably just a little more athletic than Lamar.
yeah, I would agree. He does have a similar game. I like Lamar's game. Today, um,
I don't
you
know.
know
It's
what? I
tough.
don't watch
It's tough. I
like
don't
that
know
too. Real.
anybody. That's
Yeah, I
tough. I
don't.
don't know anybody today. The Wizard. How'd you get the nickname The Wizard? Who gave it to you?
It was given to me. I believe it might have been Tony Branch, right? Yeah, Tony Branch, commentator. U of L started calling me the Wizard. Yeah, my freshman year, he started calling me the Wizard.
Okay, I
So
thought
that's
that might.
how it was. So take that back. Dick Vitale called me the Wizard, named me the Wizard.
Oh, they got to stick then. Dickie V give it to you. Got to stick.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And
That
then
sounds
Tony
like
Branch and it
I
ran
would have
with
guessed
it.
Cornell from the Dirt Ball. I would have thought Cornell would have gave you that.
Now, one time I was being commentated by Dick Vitale, and he called me, said he passed like a wizard, Wizard of Oz, Wizard of
Dope,
Osborne.
dope, dope. So let's talk about your decision to leave U of L after 2 years. What made you leave after 2 years, and talk about your, transition once you left there?
Mm. Actually, I left. I was there 3 years,
Okay.
so I actually started the year when I was ineligible one year. So mine was kind of complicated because it did come at time after that 2 years. It was time for me to come out. I
Mm-hmm.
felt, and rest in peace, Denny Crum. He didn't really want me to. You know what I'm saying? He kind of felt I should stay, and the team needed me. So he wasn't really on board for me leaving after 2 years. So it kind of became a little turmoil. And like I said, the team kind of split. So
Mm-hmm.
being and not doing the right things, and you know handling my business the correct way, ended up getting ineligible. So I was able to practice. So I was practicing with the team, but I wasn't playing. So, you know, halfway through the season, I got my grades up. I became eligible to play. Well, Crum kind of knew that if I was able to play, that I would be gone. He wouldn't have liked the fact of me playing 4 or 5 months in half of the year, and that would have been enough for me to, move on to my next, pro level. He didn't like that. He didn't want me to. So he kind of blocked me from coming back that half year. So I would come back the next year. And when I kind of found that out, I I just left school pretty much. I just made my decision, looking for agents, thinking I'm gonna go to the next level. So,
Mhm.
that was a bad decision on my part. I kept it personal and I didn't look at it in a business sense. And all Crum wanted me to do was play another year. We do well, you do well. I was looking for the fast buck, didn't want to. Everybody else is leaving. Stackhouse done left after 2 years. They all gone. Everybody's
Everybody
leaving.
that you played the McDonald's game with.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm supposed to.
Yeah.
And definitely made bad mistakes at that time, listening to others. So I got with agents and start, working out with, trying to make it to the league. Didn't make it to the league. Ended up going to the CBA. Played the CBA a couple years. Um, got on with Minnesota one year after they picked me up one year, and I made them and played with Dewan. Actually, Dewan and Cliff. I can't remember what year it was, but it
Nice.
was
I didn't
that
know
was.
that. I didn't know that.
I don't know if you remember Mikey Moore when they had Tom Glugliotta and
Yep.
Garnett,
Yep.
Hallberg. That particular team, I actually made that team.
Wow. I didn't
They
know
couldn't
that. That's dope.
know the veteran players like Mike Williams. They had some veteran players that they couldn't unload their contracts. Back then, them OGs was like, I'm gonna get my money.
Right,
And
right,
you had to
right.
respect. So I had to go back down to the CBA again, and after that, I was like, I'm going overseas to get that money. So that was my journey, and it was riddled with bad decisions, but I made it through 16 years after coming up out of that transition from trying to make the league and going overseas.
Now, talk to me
Some
about Argentina, because when I got down to Argentina, everybody asked me if I knew Jason Osborne. And I'm like, yeah, I know Jason Osborne. So we went to the same high school. I said, he's a legend in my city. And like everybody was telling me about these championships and everything else. And we never got a chance to link up down there because we was always in opposite cities, man. But talk about your experience playing down in Argentina.
Man, it was ups and downs. You know, it first of all, getting somewhere where they don't speak any English. You know that. Some you a big city, but some of those cities they don't have any Americans. They don't. I might be the only American, or me and the guy I'm playing with is the only Americans in the town. In
Right.
the city. So you know, my first couple of years was trying. That was the first place I went to was Argentina. So I ended up having some good OGs. I don't know if you remember Corey Allen. He was like best friends with Allen Houston. Played at Tennessee. He actually recruited me when Wade was there. To go to Tennessee. But he
Mm-hmm.
played. He was and he played. He played and he knew the language. Um, he was like a real big into weightlifting. He was like an OG.
Right.
And I had that. And when you're overseas, you got somebody that's with you, that's doing it the right way. You can kind of focus in because you get homesick, you can eat. They don't eat. Some of the food you don't want to touch the food. You know how it
Mm-hmm.
is. So I kind of struggled big time. I mean, I got cut. Actually, he saved me. He was like, "Give him one more game." And after a practice, he was like, Jason, they actually cut me, but they like me so much. I told him, man, give him one more game. And I probably scored 20 to 30 points every game after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, come home, I got to make this money.
Right.
So Argentina was great to me. I learned a lot. I learned Spanish. You know, won championships. The people were good. The food was good. I loved the barbecue, the asado.
Mm-hmm.
People, yeah, people don't know. I'm probably top 5 in scoring in Argentina too, as an
Yeah.
American.
Yeah.
So I ended up playing 11 years. The last couple of years wasn't so good. You know how it is when they get to playing with your money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they do that to you. And as I got older, it was easier for them to do that. You know what I'm saying? When you're
Yep.
on top, they feel obligated to play you with. That's what I always told my young guys. I helped a lot of players also in my career. Like a Leroy Hickerson,
Mm-hmm.
Taylor. Um, some people getting into Mexico and getting into Argentina, getting to other players. I definitely was big into that. Send me your tapes. I send it to an agent. Get you over here.
For
You
sure.
know,
For sure.
I was definitely an advocate for that. Um, I was happy when I seen you. I was like, he's gonna do well at Boca because he's got that type of style. You play that type of game, and you ended up sticking for a while, and I was proud of that because they was asking me about you.
Yeah, yeah. I got down there. I was trying to get buckets. I was like top 5 in the league in scoring. We was about 500, but we made the playoffs. So I'm like, that's all that matters. But I enjoyed it though, man. I was coming from Europe, and the city of Buenos Aires is very similar to European built cities, man. So it was cool. I enjoyed the big city. Those bus rides was an eye opener for me though.
Yes, yeah, I know you. Especially coming from Europe. I played a couple years, 2 years in Scafati in Italy,
Now let me
in
ask you this:
Naples.
did you play with Ginobili somewhere, or was it was?
That's in Argentina. I played with all his brothers.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Man, young, when he was young, before he got to the league,
Mm-hmm.
but I played with all his brothers. At some point in time, I played a couple years with Leandro, and he got some other ones that I played with. So yeah, I know the family. They was good to me. I lived in San Antonio for some years, so I would come go to his house, cook. He was good people. So I like
Nice.
Ginobili.
Nice. So
It was coming
now
because I
when
seen.
mhm,
I said I knew they was coming. I seen them young boys from Argentina working. Out for a minute there, and about 4 or 5 of them made it to the NBA.
mhm, that's
I
one
can't
thing
wait.
they do. They gonna work, man. They gonna work. I mean, you go up north, man. We like I said, I was in Buenos Aires, but you play on Friday, Sunday. You play on a Friday, man. You might have a 12-hour bus trip, and man, you be riding out through the night, man. Get off practice. You got a game on Sunday. It took me about a year to get adjusted to that schedule, JL, especially with the heat and you you playing and you go up in Corrientes or some of those northern cities, man, where it's kind of the gym's kind of connected outdoors and it's hot, man. That's a different type of experience right there.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That heat, that the season. Let the people know the seasons are reversed. So it was about 9 years that I never got to see like winter and fall. I went from
Mhm.
2 years, some spring and summer at home, then go over to Argentina in the spring and summer. So
Exactly.
I missed like 9 years.
Exactly. So let me ask you this, man. Let's pivot to the University of Louisville and the basketball program. Obviously, we know what um, you know, Coach Crum retired. Coach Pitino came in during my tenure, played. You know, things happened. Coach Pitino resigned. I was fired. However you want to view it, and then we've kind of hit a lull since then. We've had David Padgett was the intern. Then we went to Chris Mack. Then we went to Kenny Payne, and now we're at Coach Kelsey. What's been your thoughts on the program overall in recent years?
Hmm. Uh, I, it's kind of tough for me to say, but as I recall playing as playing for the university, it came with some tradition. You know what I'm saying? It came
Mm-hmm.
with like a style of play. You know, we knew what we had to do, kind of, and it didn't really come from, you know, Crum per se, but just the mystique of watching the players in the past, and I seen how they play, and you know, so I knew the type of game that I wanted to play with. You know, they like entertainment, they like to get up and down, you know, like to play fast, play hard, defend, score. Um, I would say the last 5 or 6 years, you don't really know the identity of the team. Ever since Patino kind of left, you know, we've still been trying to find ourselves as a basketball, you know, program. I mean, what do we do? You know, what
Right.
can we lay our head? Are we a defensive team? You know, I know Mac came in with his uh what's it called, the Virginia defense? What's that?
Uh,
Where you pack it
uh,
in?
Pack line defense.
Line defense. I'm not a fan of it. It's not a Louisville thing. It didn't take with the fans. You know, when you have scores of 49, 40, 52. You know, because
Right.
it's a slow back line. We're gonna let you move around, but you know it's gonna take you half the clock to get some scores. You
Right.
know, you play the. It's not our style at Louisville. So people off the top, and then you recruit certain players and 7-footers or certain type of player that we're not used to, and it's been kind of trickling down over the years where we don't have an identity. You know, I mean, so we haven't developed any true people of that's Louisville bred, you know, that really means it. You know, you had your Jaden, you know, Jaden's a good guy, and but you know, he's calm. You know,
Right.
he's not talking, not gonna, you know, he's not a rah-rah guy. You know, he
Right.
plays hard, but he's gonna do that. You know, but we come, you know, the last people I remember was like a Raymond Spalding, you know,
Mm-hmm.
people from Louisville, you know, that really knows the level of tradition, the way we play and how we do it.
Right.
We didn't have that for years, you know, so it's going to take time to kind of get that back. And it might not be a coach. If you think about it, it might be, you know, internally, you know, the university itself.
Right. So let's rewind. Your son, JJ Traynor, he's playing for another Card alum, Boo Brewer, down in Bardstown. You know, he's one of the top players in the state, in the country. And so he's coming down to a decision. He ultimately chooses to go play for the University of Louisville like his dad. How did that make you feel, man?
Man, you know, they say sometimes your kids can, you know, make you shed a tear even when they do something well, you know, do something good. So you'll be doing that now with all the youngins. When you see them ride that first bike, it's gonna bring tears to your eyes, you know. And, you know, one of the things that was good for me is at least being able to watch him play, you know, continue seeing his career. I really wanted him to graduate and you know, and accomplish one of the things that I didn't do and do it the right way. I knew he was a good kid. So it warmed my heart. You know, it not, I did get a good relationship with Mac at the time, but, you know, Jaden needed a little more pushing, you know, in a good way, not the negative,
Mm-hmm.
more of the, you know, I didn't think Mac helped him along with his confidence, but I
Being
was so
assertive,
proud.
yeah.
Yeah, I was so proud of him, and man, it's like the senior night. That was another crying moment because you know I see he did it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's enough for me. And just to be honest, it kind of took everything all the mistakes that I made at Louisville. It went away with that. You know, when seeing him holding that senior night and that senior, you know, picture, I was it it it, it was full circle. So that gave me a chance, him coming to Louisville and doing that and looking out for me.
Right,
So I
right.
don't think
It's kind of a
real
full
talk.
circle moment, man, to kind of, you know, like you said, to kind of help and move past things. And like you said, some of the things that you might have done different, man, to now to see your son come in, man, and really do it and to finish, man. So man, I can't imagine. So, you know, I got two young boys myself now. So if they're blessed enough to ever to make it or to go and play for Louisville, man, I couldn't imagine what that feeling's like, man. I know just walking out, I couldn't stop. I wasn't even planning on crying my senior night when I walked out, but I just seen everybody else, and then it just started flowing down my face, man.
Yeah. So you imagine? And then he kind of, I don't want to put him under the bus, but he kind of, as we was walking off, he kind of started to break down himself, and it made it worse, man. I just, I had definitely needed a couple minutes to pull myself together on that one, for sure. Now, like I said, I wish he would have played better and was healthy, didn't get injured, and and finished the season like he wanted to. I think Jay was gonna have a good season this year. He was on his way to having, some pretty good games. I seen he had a 20-10 game.
Mm-hmm.
He actually, doing pretty well before he got hurt. And they probably would have won a few more games
Most
with
definitely.
him in the,
Most
you know,
definitely. Most definitely.
I want him to actually, have one good year, man. He's gonna, hopefully, with this portal and or whatever he, decides to do, this is gonna be a good one. I want him healthy and have a good year and enjoy a year of college.
Most
It's been
definitely.
rough. But he went through 3 or 4 different coaches. It's tough.
It is. Very tough. Very tough. What? Mac? What? Did he start with Paget?
No, I think it was Mac,
Mac?
and then
Then
Geese
Pegues?
took over.
Yeah, Pegues, and then
Yeah,
KP. So Coach Mac's taking over. He's at the helm now. What do you want to see from him? I know you've talked about, us, University of Louisville not having an identity. What's something you want to see him, and what do you think about his press conference and what he's doing early on?
well, I mean, from what I gather, he won the press conference. I mean, everybody likes him. I kind of liked his energy. He seems to me to be a basketball guy.
Mm-hmm.
He be in the gym. Wants to be around. So I kind of like that about him. Um, I was telling somebody it was kind of crazy because in the tournament I watched the game. I think it was like College of Georgetown versus Villanova, and I said this little team is playing all right. If they had
Mm-hmm.
some, yes, they might have beat Villanova right there. So I seen him. Seems like he has a pretty good program, pretty good system. Um, but Louisville's a big place, big shoes to fill. I mean, you know, I would like to see what type of program, what type of system. All the other stuff that he's doing is fine and well, but we really got to start buckling down on trying to figure out what type of kid we're going to recruit. All of it. You see what I'm saying? Like, you know, NIL, all that stuff, the new stuff. I mean, I'm not sure about it, the analytical part of it, but he needs to create a system, a plan, and you know, we got to let him do it. Do you think that we gave him KP enough time?
Man, that's tough. um, man, be it fair or not, I just think it's tough, man. It was going to take more than 2 years, but I think people just anticipated winning more than 12 games in 2 years. And I think just strictly from a business standpoint, I think it was a decision that was made, outside of basketball, right? Just too much money is just being hemorrhaged from, I think from a university standpoint and from a city standpoint of businesses around the Yum Center with, only, 5,000, 6,000 people coming to a 22,000 seat arena. I think it was more economical than anything. Everybody loves them. Um, each one of us, he's a national champion, but I just think from an economic standpoint, it had a bigger impact than just wins and losses. Obviously, he wanted them to win more, but I just think from an economic standpoint, it was tough.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah,
You
but I
know,
mean,
you want to.
he knows it more than anything. The standard at Louisville is to win, and that's it. That's it.
Well, they
But
like to see also see a good. So
Yes.
I actually think Kelsey. I think Kelsey has a good plan. I mean, he has to execute it, but from what I see, I think he'll do well.
I think
Now,
so.
but the thing is we can't be mid-major good. We have to be Power
ACC
Five
good.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the
Facts. Jo, last thing before I let you get out of here, man. I know 3 questions I'm gonna
one.
ask you before I let you go. One, toughest person you ever played against. 2,
Mm,
I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Out of all the teammates that you play with, who you taking in the 2-on-2 battle? And 3,
mm,
what is something you tell your kids that you learn from the mistakes that you made so that they don't make them? So
okay.
one, toughest player you ever played against. Who's the toughest matchup you had?
Mm. Uh, it was a duo my freshman year. Temple, Aaron McKee, and
Eddie
what was his
Jones?
name? Eddie Jones.
Yeah.
They as a duo, they were very, very tough to guard, very heady, strong-minded, strong players that put a lot of pressure on me. You know what I'm saying? Had me doing things that I wouldn't normally do. So yeah, them two as a collective, was super super hard to play against. Yeah, I would
2,
say.
in a 2-on-2 battle, who you taking as your running mate in a 2-on-2 battle?
Mm. Man. You know what? If we go keep it Louisville, man. I take Tick Rogers.
Oh, I
The
can't
reason
wait
why
to
I
get
would
on the
take
phone. I can't wait to get on the phone and call Wheat. I got call Wheat.
nah, I mean I love me some Wheaties. I
I
do.
was just
That's
messing
my
with you.
favorite. Excuse me. Tick Rogers, ultimate competitor. He's not trying to lose. He's going to go. He's going to dive in on asphalt. Uh, man, he's going to do whatever it takes to win. Man. And I can score. He can score too. He's a great scorer, but man, you need that second player that's very, very tough and tenacious, and we can switch. Even though he might take a big man, Tick got that game in him. So I
Yeah.
would take Tick Rogers.
Man, probably my favorite Tick Rogers moment. I remember was talking to him about this on the podcast was when we matched up with Villanova. I think it was the second round. I don't think it was the first round. I think we beat somebody the first round. We matched up with Villanova, and man, just to watch him guard Kerry Kittles, man, and just kind of really kind of take him out of his game, man, and help us get that victory, man. That was probably one of my favorite Tick Rogers moments. So I don't blame you, man. Tick is the ultimate competitor, man.
For sure. He's
3,
down for whatever.
yeah, yeah, for sure. 3, what's something you tell your kids that you train and all the kids that come to you for advice, just on how to be successful and some of the mistakes that you may have made, so that they don't make them? What's the advice that you give to them?
Uh, one of the things I tell them that they're great. First of all, I think that anybody tries to do any kind of extracurricular and find themselves. I mean, that's a great thing. But I also, try to explain to them that you don't know it all. I say, one of the things that I like to do is try to learn something every day. If I can learn something every day, I had a good day, whatever it may be. These kids today, sometimes you can't tell them anything. They know it all. They don't like to listen. So one of the things I try to instill in them at all times, you know, you can learn right here. You can listen. You can. It's okay to gather knowledge. You understand. Because right now, you can tell them to do something, and out of the time out, they do something totally different. So you
Right.
can teach that. I like all other trainers and other people know you can actually teach that and work with the kids to where you can make it fun enough to where they'll tend to gain your respect and they'll start listening. But
Nice.
understand, follow instructions. Be a good guy. Learn your morals, your etiquette. Try to get better as a person on the court and off the court. That's one of my main things because it got to the point where I thought I knew everything. And nobody could tell me nothing. If I just took the time to listen and to listen to some of the things that was being said to me, I wouldn't have made the decisions that I made. You see what I'm saying? So,
Yep.
kids today is very important because one decision can change everything.
Facts. Man, way to wrap up the podcast, my brother. So, somebody that wants to sign their kids up for JO athletics and your trainings, how do they get in touch with you? And what's some information that they may need to get in touch with you to sign up for trainings?
Um, we still in development with the iQuest that's coming soon. But with Jail Athletics, right now I'm on his social media. I'm on his Facebook. I have a page. You can reach out to me, inbox me on there, message me, um, and we can get you scheduled in. Get you together. It's as simple as that. Just reach out to me on Facebook. I'm always available. I enjoy working with the kids. It's very important for me to give back and share my life. Before we leave, one of the things that gravitated me to you is that every time I would hear about you, everybody had great things to say. And one year I came back and I was kicking it with Dewan. He was like, "Yeah, man, I got this young boy in there. We shooting every day.
Yeah,
Whoop, whoop, whoop." He was like, "Man, he's all right." And I was like, "Who you talking about, man?" He's like, "Larry O'Bannon." I was like, "Yes." So I guess at one point in time, y'all would get together and y'all would work out. And, if I know you did any kind of DeWine workouts, you was getting them shots up. So, you was in the right places, doing the right things. And I appreciate you, man. You kept the Bulldog name, you kept and held it down. You came to Argentina and held it down, man. So I'm going to give my young boy some flowers too,
I
man. You did
appreciate it,
well.
man. Man, big shoes to fill, man. You got to keep that thing going, man. Plus being the hometown dude, everybody wants to be your coach, right? When you're playing in the hometown, you can't go to the mall, you can't go to McDonald's without somebody coaching you, give you the advice. So, you got to hold it down. But Wally Brown hooked us up, man. Like I said, you and we were my guys. Watching you guys when I was younger, man. I remember I think Robbie Valentine had a camp down to Central, and Wheat was coming out of high school, man, and he was down there doing the camping drills, and it was my first time I got a chance to meet him, and I ran into him here sparingly here and there, but Wally Brown was like a big mentor to me when I was out there playing at U of L because I was kind of up and down and going through some things, man, and like me and Patino didn't always see eye to eye. And so, him and Wheat were great buddies. And he said, "Hey, man, I'm gonna call somebody. I want you to go work out with him." He said, "You gonna get with him, whatever he does, whatever he tells you to do, make sure you do it." I'm like, "All right." And so he called me, man. He said, "I'm gonna hook you up with Dewan." I said, "Dewan, yes, yeah, hell yeah, I'm going." And so, man, we would go over to cable. We would go over to cable church, and man, he took me
Yep.
up under his wing, man, and just showing me how to develop my game because I was kind of like two-tier JO. Like I could get to the rim and finish with the best of them, or I was catching
Right.
shooting threes. And so
Okay.
what Dewan really helped me was developing my in-between game. He kind of showed me like some
Yes.
short, some small man shots. Like he's like, "Hey, I'm 6 foot." But like when you get in there, like just coming to a jump stop, he taught me how to shoot that jump stop fade away off the glass. That was one of the main things he
Oh
taught.
yeah.
And so, man, just the shooting drills, running and shooting. If you're missing, running, sprinting, accountability, and you're not just in there shooting to shoot. It's accountability. You miss, you run. And so, like, just little habits, man. He had this defensive slide drill he had me do. He said, you start at 7, you shoot in one elbow, you slide to the other baseline, come in, shoot on the opposite elbow. You make it, you go down to 6, you miss it, you go up to 8. So you had to make 7 in a row, but you're doing these defensive slides. And then we did it on the 3-point line. And so, man, he just took me up under his wing one summer, man. Like we would work out and then we go over to the Chinese shop, get us some fried rice and just chop it up, man. And he just really kind of, took me in as a little brother, man. And man, it just helped me out so tremendously, man. And that's why I had, great year like I had my last year, man. I contributed a lot of it to him, just, helping me just develop my confidence. It was a big boost to my confidence, man. And just him taking the time out, playing one-on-one and just showing me little things, man. And so, yeah, that's my guy, man. That is my guy.
Mine too, man. And I know when y'all got in that gym, he's one of the guys. He been there for hours.
Yeah.
He'll
Yeah.
sit and talk to you and chop it up, get back on the court. He likes racquetball. He get in the sauna. He's a gym guy. So I wasn't the biggest gym guy. Now I get on the court, but I'm not gonna be in that gym all day long.
Right.
What we were talking about kind of speaks to what we were talking about, how, just you doing that, it gave you more confidence. It made you do different things, some newer things. It made you, try something new. It was okay to make a mistake because, you did the work and put the work in and you'll make up for it. And that made you want the game more, enjoy it more. That's how we want our kids to be now,
Facts. And so, man, I one thing, kind of not to be jumping around, but Coach Kelsey, I hope that's something that he really brings is allowing like kind of like some of the OGs, the alumni. I'm even in the OG category now. And so like yourself, man, that's something that I enjoy passing down because that's what you guys did to me. I enjoy passing that down, to the next generation. Hey, man, I think you need to work on this and that. Caleb Glenn, another Bulldog that went to the U of L train. That's one of my guys, man, that I got to get in the gym with, just to help him, continue to develop and to get better, man. So that's something that I enjoy and that I hope Coach Kelsey, really embraces, kind of bringing like the OG former players back to kind of, pass knowledge along to, the current guys now and kind of let them know what the expectation, the standard is, and, the tradition that we have here. So he seems like he's that way, man. So I'm really looking forward to really kind of being around more and seeing what we can do to help get this thing going in the right direction.
Yeah, and, we're available. They just have to use us. I mean, if you think about it, in the past couple of years, it's probably why we're in this situation that we're in now. We kind of fell, the university kind of fell out of favor with the alumni and some of the past, boosters and stuff like that, to where, we're now trying to regain some of that relationships and, just so we can bring some of our tradition back. Because for a minute there, we lost our way.
Facts.
But I think I think he can do it. As I'm saying, he's a basketball guy. I think can do it. The AD, he's real analytical. He's got a good mind, but I'm not sure how much of a sportsman he is. He might not know about the grind and what it takes to, to make a good program.
Right.
But Kelsey, he seems to me a huge basketball guy, and he's gonna make the changes and he's gonna put in the work, So we'll see. And he does need us, to be honest. I mean, some of the younger ones, maybe not, some of us older ones, but people such as yourself or Reese Gaines.
They need
I
everybody.
like it when y'all.
We need everybody.
Yeah.
We need everybody.
Y'all come with a level of, expectation. So yeah, put that in them. Keep pushing them.
Most definitely. But J.O., man, I ain't gonna hold you. Always a pleasure, my brother, man. We definitely got to get together and grab a lunch, man. Now that I'm back home, man. I've been gone for the last almost 20 years. So now that we back home, man, we definitely got to get together, grab us a lunch, bro.
Yeah, appreciate it. Share some of them stories, some of them old stories, and have a good time.
Most definitely.
Drink some of that bourbon. Which one? Tell me what was your what's your bourbon?
Man, the Woodford Reserve Double Oak was my that was the one that I kind of fell in love with, man. I like it's a bourbon called Stag Junior. It's kind of a thicker bourbon, man, but that's probably my favorite now. But Woodford Reserve Double Oak is probably like my go-to every day. The Woodford, when I first tried the Woodford, that Woodford came with a little heat, little burn, man. It was a little. And then when they gave me the double oak was the Woodford Reserve Double Oak was a little smoother. Oh man, and that was it, man. That was it. Give me a little
Yeah,
Woodford
I like.
splash of ginger ale, and I'm good.
Oh man, yeah, you're right. Okay, I see you. See you. I turn it into OT. Yeah, I see you. Good look. That's a good look, man. It's good seeing you and your family too, man. I see ya. They gonna be
See,
all right. They gonna be like you. They gonna be like you.
I
I can see it
appreciate it.
now.
Yes, sir. Tell JJ, man, we wish him the best of luck, man. Stay healthy, man. We want him to be great.
I sure will. Thank you.
All right, appreciate it, Joe.
Good night.
Later.